Welcome to Haunted Homebodies, where Halloween isn't just a day, it's a lifestyle. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Sarah, and we're your guides through the delightfully dark corners of comfort horror. So, one of my favorite things in the entire world is going to the movies in the middle of the day on a weekday.
Oh my gosh. Yes, the weekday thing. I went to a movie in the middle of the day, but it was on the weekend. And that's still nice.
Yeah.
That's still lovely.
It was
but
early
it doesn't have
in
the
day
same
that you
energy.
went. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Middle of the day. It was 11. That's almost the middle of the day. It's technically morning.
How many other people were in the theater with you?
Maybe 5.
Yeah, I think I was about the same. There were 3 people sitting behind me, and I think like maybe 2 other loners, just like me, scattered throughout.
There was only one other loner, and then there was like what appeared to be maybe like a 60 plus like double date. Cute.
Adorable for a Scream movie. Wait, I love
that. I know. I loved it for them. And then another couple, and like aside from like a slight hint of like weed smell, it was such a chill experience. You know how I've talked about loving the movies, but then also like raging against people who are just like scrolling on their phones and like talking very loudly and just being generally obnoxious. Like this was a week we're all just chilling. It was great.
Okay, great that it was a chill experience, because deciding what version of this movie to see was not a chill experience for me. And I know I texted you about this, but I feel like I need to recount this for viewers. When I was growing up and going to the movies all the time, you just went to see a movie. Maybe for a very few options, you could see a movie in 3D and it was bad. It was such bad 3D.
That was the terrible era.
Or we could drive 45 minutes away for the very few movies that were released in IMAX.
Yes, I don't even really remember what IMAX was. Was that just bigger?
Oh, that's like the huge, huge screen. And that's still like a big deal now. And like movies are shot specifically for IMAX.
Yeah.
But some of them, like Scream 7, are not shot specifically for IMAX. So it's not that super high quality for that like ridiculously tall screen. But it was still offered in IMAX. So let me, if you'll just like give me a moment, let me read to you all of the different options that I had for seeing Scream 7.
Okay, let's hear it.
4DX, which has 3D with seat movement plus realistic effects like wind, fog, and sense. What I read about previous Scream movies with 4DX is they like, as people are getting stabbed on screen, you can like feel it in your seat. That sounds terrible and traumatizing.
Yes, no, absolutely not.
Okay, there was IMAX, which like I said, Scream 7 was not filmed for IMAX. So like you could watch on a big screen, but it wasn't going to be like super high quality IMAX experience. And also like, it's just not the type of movie you need that for.
That's like for Avatar or Star Wars or something like that. That's like really immersive world building and all these like dramatic shots.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no. Too much.
Okay, so then there was RPX, which I think is like, it just has like the like cooler surround sound. It has a digital projection, which I feel like they all are. It's a bigger screen. I think I would have been fine going to see RPX, but it wasn't the time.
I think that's what I ended up seeing.
That's what my guess was.
Yes, because I texted you earlier when I was seeing it. It was called like Extreme or something with just the letter X, and I was like, it was just the only time that worked. And I was like, I hope this isn't terrible. Like, I don't want smoke blown up my butt and like to be like have my seat stabbed.
Okay, what was it?
It was just like a really big screen, and I think there was some sort of like other nuance in terms of like, I don't know, maybe the sound or something, like things that like didn't register for me. But the screen was bigger. It was huge.
Okay.
But I kind of thought that was it, and like was luckily far enough back for it not to annoy me.
Good.
It wasn't too extreme. I wouldn't call it extreme. So it was pretty normal.
It's like kind of annoying that they call it extreme. These all of these things that I am reading aloud to, by the way, they all have their own like logo too. Okay, there was one other option.
How?
Screen X, which I had to Google and look all over for what this is. So Screen X has like the main screen you look at, and then there's a screen to either side of it that's like angled in towards you. They call it a 270-degree panoramic visual. But the side screens that show you more of what's going on are only on during select scenes where they have filmed
What?
the extra thing. So I like read so many people saying it's so distracting when they
Yeah,
come
when it just
on.
pops on,
And then there's like
totally.
gaps in between the screens. So that sounds
Oh,
ridiculous.
no, no.
So I went to see it in standard version with recliner seating, and I feel so great
Yeah.
about that choice.
Okay, that is the only choice. I can't believe there's that many options, though. That's insane.
You're right? How?
That is insane.
How? I'm looking
Ugh.
at this other theater near me. There's something called VIP. I don't even know what that means. What? Why? Why, Ashley?
We have so much decision fatigue, like, at baseline. So in order for
Yes.
you were like texting me about this and I'm reading through it and I'm like, why is this a conversation we even have to
I
have?
had
Like,
to
you're just going to
do
the movies.
research
You
to make this
did.
decision.
You've had to scroll past the annoying little AI blurbs that are like totally wrong, being like, this is extremely
Yes.
fun experience. And you're like, is it
Extremely experience. It's all
extreme?
X, 4DX, IMAX, RPX, Screen X.
None of those things mean anything.
They
That's
do
what's more
not.
frustrating. Like, I saw the extreme version today, and I don't know what was so extreme about it.
I mean,
Luckily,
there were
luckily,
extreme
I was
things in
nervous.
the movie that we will talk about, but the
Yes, we
format of
will.
it was in no way extreme. It was shot exactly like any other Scream movie has been shot, which is
Good. Thank goodness.
just as good on my home television as in a
Yeah.
theater.
Yeah. But so fun that we got to go to the theaters again. And also, I'm very proud of us because we are sitting here about to talk about Scream 7 and have not given away like almost even a hint of like how either of us felt about it, although we
No.
both kind of have guesses as to how the other person felt about it.
Yes, we
I also
do.
have to say, I officially deactivated my Instagram and it's
Proud of
been,
you.
I don't know, maybe a week. Yeah, it's something I've been thinking about for like probably over a year. And I just keep being like, I don't know. I don't know. And then I just finally did it and like haven't missed it, which is amazing. But also like it just made me think after watching this movie, like normally I'd be like scrolling on Instagram and then my algorithm would quickly be just getting like all of the Scream 7
Yeah.
content. And so having none of that, like I have done a little bit of a Google, a little bit of like a Reddit perusal,
Oh,
but like
interesting. I'll be
maybe
curious to
15 minutes.
hear.
Yeah, I didn't really get too much because I didn't want to be like too like I tend to be very impressionable. So I wanted to come into this like pretty fresh but at least know kind of like the general consensus about the movie, and I think that general consensus is like completely unsurprising. Unless this movie was phenomenal, it really, I don't think, had a chance to be like super successful and not have heavy criticism because of like all the controversy that has surrounded it.
Yes.
The big change up with like having an original plan for Scream 7 with Melissa Barrera and then abruptly firing her and like the outrage that came with it. Like a lot of it completely justified, but like just like a lot of like heavy political things, like things that we're not interested being like like involved in like this discussion, but we kind of like appreciate like the people who feel like they want to boycott this movie, like we support
Absolutely.
that.
Mhm.
um but and we are like we're a podcast just like shooting the shit over here, so obviously we're all about like free speech and think like what basically like we think the big business of movies is like evil, like everyone knows
It's
that,
not
right?
good. The
It's so
movie studios
bad.
they're just
So
another
bad.
major, massive conglomeration as
That is
proven
awful.
by
Awful.
Paramount, who we're talking about. The very studio we're talking
Yes.
about just bought or they're about to buy Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers, that's the one. And it's not
It's
anything
just
that big is not good. It's already not good. They're already
it's
making all sorts of poor decisions.
so many just evil billionaires just ruining lives.
Yes. But what I will say and what I like truly feel about a lot of movies and TV shows where I find that I end up drawing a different line kind of each time there may be a reason I don't want to watch something because of someone involved, is that there are hundreds of people involved in making these things. There's hundreds of jobs, there's hundreds of pieces of artistic expression from all sorts of different people that are involved in these. And sometimes it's really hard for me to get over.
Yeah.
Like someday I will be able to rewatch Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but it has been
Yeah.
a few years for me, and I've been like
Yeah.
really struggle with that because like the guy
I know.
really behind it is the reason why there is a controversy there, but
Right.
so many other people put so much into that.
I know. I know. It's really complicated, and like the second that you start to look at like who should be canceled and who has done things against like our ethical and moral beliefs, it's like all of the movies. It's all of them. So it does like end up being kind of case by case. Sometimes it's so clear that you're just like, I cannot get behind this. Like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Kind of like in the case for us, like with Harry Potter, we're just like,
Yeah,
we just have to be done. We just can't
yeah.
support this anymore. And that's really, really sad. And disappointing. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too heavy into it, but it did make me sad for Kevin Williamson because we are big Kevin Williamson fans, and
Amazing. Yes.
he is the creator of Scream. Like Scream would not exist without Kevin Williamson. So like he always gets to like have that with Wes Craven, like, you know, creating that
Yeah.
first Scream. He wrote the first Scream and then has been
And
involved to
several
some
others.
extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, like completely, and then like been involved. He's been involved to some degree in every single movie. And then this was his first one to direct. So he
Yeah.
co-wrote it and directed it. And so it's sad because like I knew going into it, like I said, like this wasn't gonna be
Well, you
this was an
know,
uphill battle already because it's Scream 7. It's
it's
Scream
Scream 7,
7.
yet somehow Scream 6 was so good. And so it's also
Yeah.
going against that without the
Right.
two major cast members. Because again,
Yes. It's
I
just a hot
Scream 6
mess,
is so
really.
good.
Yeah, and like Scream 5 was like pretty well received.
Yeah.
And it's like we were just expecting Scream 5 and Scream 6 to just kind of be like, okay, kind of like Scream 4, where you're just
Yeah.
like, all right, so this is just like another installment in the
It's
franchise, and it has
fine.
some fun moments, but like both of them were like pretty good movies and like different enough, but like, you know, still feeling like Scream. And then, you know, it was just like such a hot mess. Like they even had a different director before Kevin Williamson, when it's like all of this drama was going on, then he ended up dropping out. So it's just been like a total cluster. And because of it, like also at the end of the day, just being like a cash grab for the studio, they just keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
Like I think this would have been something where like they probably should have just been like, you know what, we need to wait a few years. We need to let the dust settle. We need to figure out like where we should go from here, take our time, maybe let like some of these feelings like just give people time to process. And nope.
But
None of that
but
happened.
again, that's not studios don't give a shit.
No,
Studios are
about our
here to make
feelings.
money. That is
Exactly,
the only thing
exactly.
they're here for.
Yes. Yeah. So man, like what a hot mess of like a behind the scenes.
Yes. With
And
all that said, so the Rotten Tomato scores so far, obviously evolving, are very interesting. The critic score is somewhere in
yes.
the 30s. It was like 32%
Oof.
last time I looked.
Yeah.
And the audience score
Let
is
me
like
pull it up.
77,
Oh my gosh.
which the
Okay.
77 kind of surprises me, but we'll talk about
Yes, we will
that.
definitely get into it. Okay, I had it all pulled up, and then of course,
But also
probably
always
my
good to
baby.
remember it literally came out yesterday. So the only
Yes.
people who have seen it so far are people who are going to see
Nerds.
Scream 7 on opening
Us.
weekend.
I know,
Us.
it's us.
Yes.
So yeah, you are correct. Right now it is sitting at a 34% critic score and a 78% audience score. Let me read the critics' consensus on Rotten Tomatoes. Less a return to Scream's root than a disappointing creative regression, the seventh entry draws little blood with its dull knife of a script.
Woof. That's a rough one.
Wow, okay. Then I'm just going to read the first audience review that came up here from Carol. Thank you, Carol. Carol gave it 5 stars. This is a must-see movie. Fantastic from beginning to end. Let's go, Sydney.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, you know
okay.
what? I liked Sydney. I like Sydney this movie. I've never not liked Sydney, but
Yes.
this was a pretty good
Right.
Sydney.
Yes. Totally agree. But let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning
Do it.
because okay, should we give initial thoughts or should we like kind of like initial reactions like to how much we liked this movie? Like did you like this movie?
I feel
It's not a
fairly ambivalent about this
yeah.
movie. Yeah.
I was trying to think of like I was thinking we should do the thing again where I'm like 1, 2, 3, say a word, and then I'm like I don't think I could sum this one up into a word. Like Chris was asking me like if I had fun at the movies, and I was like I did have a good time, and he's like, well, did you like it? And I was like, I don't know. I
I think
don't
if I were
know.
sitting at home, I would have been like not paying that much attention to
Yeah,
it.
that's true. There was something about like being in the theaters, like the jump scares were jump
Yeah.
scaring me. Like
Mhm.
that was fun. Like I do appreciate that about the movies is that like you're so locked in that you are like really experiencing the movie. And I feel like we're
Yeah.
such comfort watchers that like I am rarely like sitting down and like watching something. Like Stranger Things, like sat down, watched it, like did not have my phone, did not
Yeah.
have anything. Like there are certain things still, but like it is rare for me to just like put on like a random horror movie that I want to watch and like totally be focused because also like I just don't have that kind of
I believe
lifestyle.
I admitted to you last week that when I watched Twilight for the podcast, I was painting my living room.
I don't know that you did admit that. Maybe you did. That's really funny. That was probably like I mean we've probably seen it a few times before
Yeah,
that.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Just a few. Just a few.
Yeah, so I think yeah, we're both kind of I would say lukewarm about the movie. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say that I didn't like it. But there was a lot I have a lot of like criticism about it. And I think
Yes.
overall it's going to be we're going to do a ranking episode. We're going to do our first little paid
Bonus
Substack
episode.
and we're going to rank all of the screams so like kind of an overall ranking and then we're going to get into like a little more detail to wrap up our very lengthy discussion of the Scream franchise. I think this one's gonna end up at the bottom of the list pretty easily for
Pretty
me.
close. Pretty
Close.
close.
Like I
Yeah.
don't know that it would be like the last, but it might be for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to think about it because I take this very seriously
Mm.
as a longtime Scream fan. But let's talk about the opening because we cannot have Scream without a opening kill scene. What did you think of the opening of this installment?
You literally just reminded me what happened at the beginning of the movie. I saw it
You saw it
24 hours
one day
ago.
ago. Okay. So from the get, I was like, I don't know about this because there is such a formula to these movies, and that is something that I appreciate about it. Like, I like having my expectations subverted. I like being surprised. Like, they really surprised me in Scream 6. I know it would be very hard to top that with like the removal of the Ghostface
Right.
mask. But the first opening image of this movie was like a car driving down a road. And I was like, no. Like, where are you going? Like, this is not how this works. Like, it's always like a girl doing
Right.
something, right? And then like things happen from there. So it's a
Yes.
couple arriving at Stu Macher's house.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
the Stu Macher experience.
Yes. The Mocker
So
House experience.
yeah, okay, yeah. And it was I really didn't like it. I didn't
It
like
was
almost
weird.
anything about it. I mean, I think it was kind of fun and kitschy in terms of like poking fun at true crime obsession and you know these immersive experiences and like kind of morbid whatever they call it like dark tourism kind of
But
stuff.
like so many of the Scream movies have already done that. And
Yeah.
this, I feel like they just really wanted us to believe in the end that it was going to be Stu. By the way,
Yes.
if you've gotten this far, you should have really known this was going to be a spoiler-filled episode, even though we haven't seen it
Yes.
yet.
Yes.
So even
No, I was thinking
yeah,
though. I should have put that in my notes because like we need to say that this is
yeah,
spoiler heavy.
we'll put it in the description.
Yeah, I was thinking how like we could never do a spoiler free episode.
Impossible for us.
Physically, like I just think
Impossible.
about when I get so stressed out when someone's having a surprise party because I'm like, you need to surprise me too because I cannot keep a secret. When people ask me a question, I just like answer it straight up.
Yeah.
So like if you were like, oh, what are you doing on Saturday? I'd be like, oh, it's Chris's party, and Chris would be with me, and he'd be like, what? I'm like, nothing. Like the worst liar on earth.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So spoilers will abound.
For sure.
But yeah, so I feel like that was just them like trying to make it seem like, oh, like
Yeah.
it's Stu, he's back. He hated that this existed for some reason. I don't know. But
Yeah.
then, like, in the end, it felt like they were not, it felt like they explicitly in the movie were tying what happened there to then what happened in Pine Grove, Sydney's new hometown. But then in the end, it like doesn't make sense.
No, I still don't. Now that like we're talking about it explicitly, like why, like what was the point of that?
Why would
like,
those super fans destroy what? Destroy that like historic artifact that they should love? Is it
right? And like, why are they pyros? There was like a viciousness to this installment that like I didn't appreciate, but then also like campy gore, which I thought was just weird.
It felt so out of place. It reminded me of the Final Destination movies.
Right. And so the guy who co-wrote it did also write Final Destination Bloodlines. So I definitely was like getting memories of that with like some of the kills where I was like, this just doesn't feel
so like
Scream.
I was completely taken out of the movie during the when he stuck the guy's head on the spiky beer tap and then beer and blood poured out of his mouth, but like in like the most goofy comical way.
It was so fake looking. Also, this movie acted like as if human beings are made out of clay.
Yes.
Like they so gently lifted him and then like placed him on that spike. Also, it's like let's skip right to the ending. One of the killer's children, so that's extremely fucked up.
Yes.
And we don't know who was doing the killing in that one. Hopefully not her. Whatever. That's just like so dark. And we will talk about the end at the end. But they just like placed him on it so gingerly. I'm like, no, like he just wouldn't. His head. We have skulls. We have skulls.
Like the whole thing would have broken.
It was so weird. It was so weird. So yeah, the opening sucked.
Yes,
I think.
Yeah, I agree.
The vibes are already off for me.
Like the jump scares at the beginning were good, but the jump scares at the beginning of Scream movies are always the best jump scares of the whole movie.
Yeah. No, and I thought even some of them were a little predictable, like the animatronic one, like the first one really got me.
What was happening.
Yeah, we knew that was going to be swapped out. That was kind of silly. I didn't love that it was a couple. They were like kind of an annoying couple.
Very.
And then like the whole fire thing made no sense to me. Like I knew that there was going to be like
why?
And they sold this fire thing like this huge part of the movie, and then that was like it. That was the whole thing. Was just the opening, and then it like never tied back. Like I thought it was just going to be like a pyro Ghostface where he wasn't like just stabbing people, he was like stabbing them and then lighting places on fire, or lighting all of the locations on fire.
With the fact that they've made all the stab movies,
yeah,
so
and they wanted to destroy it.
Yes.
Nope. Okay, so yeah. That made no sense.
Yes.
Before we get like too negative, let's talk about Sydney, because this movie was made for Sydney, to really like, Sydney is like the franchise, right? As much as Ghostface is the franchise. But what I didn't realize, and I'm getting a lot of my intel from the book that you gave me for like, Christmas. Yeah, what is it called? Your Favorite Scary Movie by Ashley Cullens. I read it. I loved it. I read it in like a day or two. I read it like so fast, like faster than I even read most fiction books. It was so great. And it just gave me like a lot of insight for things that like I feel like I know a lot, but like it just gave you like a lot of that in between and like filling in the gaps and stuff. So it was talking about how like when they were rewriting Scream 7, and they needed Nev back basically for this to like be at all functional as a film, especially in like a short time frame. He was talking about like what he would want her story to be, and he like talks to Nev because Nev Campbell is very invested in the character and like who she thinks she would be.
She's been playing the character for 30 years.
Right. So like they had discussions about it. And he mentioned that this would be like the first Scream really since Scream 3 that was like truly focused like on her life. Like
she was a side character in 4 or 5 And
Well, even
obviously
really
wasn't
in
in 6.
3. Yeah, I mean, 3, she didn't have,
Yeah.
like she was kind of, like, in between. She wasn't, like, the
Yeah.
sole focus, like, she was kind of in and out. So he was like, "I really want to see, where is her life now more so than her just being, like, hunted constantly." Like,
Yeah.
she moved on for a while, and now she's back, and I do think that they did a good job, like, with her character.
Mhm.
I felt like it was pretty believable, like, I kind of liked how she was, like, a mixed of, like, clearly traumatized and having trouble moving on and like
Yes.
being a parent and like not being too controlling. Like that seems so realistic to be like, I don't want you to live in fear, but also like I am
Absolutely.
so terrified that like something like this is going to happen to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I liked their little family. I think it's like random that they had like little twins that were sent off to
Yeah.
grandmas. I don't know like
I
what
mean,
that was
that was
about.
purely convenience to not.
I just don't even know,
Yeah.
like, where did they establish that, like, they had twins? Maybe because she had a stroller in Scream 5? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I was also trying to figure that out, like, why did they
Why
like,
do we
had
even
they
do that?
referenced them that she had multiple kids before?
I don't
I
know, but
assumed they
also
had, but now that Scream expert Ashley isn't sure, I'm not sure.
well, right, and then but this movie was also I read a New York Times article that I'll have to link because I'm bringing it up, about Scream 7 and kind of, like, the reception and some of the controversy,
Mhm.
and it was talking about how Scream 7 did kind of rely, as many movies do, on us just, like, accepting that, like, the math doesn't math, and of course, this article said
It's so
said it in a much
true.
more articulate way, but for they wanted Tatum, her daughter, to be 17 in this movie because Sydney is 17 during the events of Scream when she
Oh,
first
of
has to deal
course.
with everything. So, in order for that to be true timeline-wise, then Tatum would have been 2 during the events of Scream 4.
Okay.
So Sydney just does not mention once that she is married. I don't think she's married at that point or they don't establish
Hmm.
that. Um or like I think she says that she's married to Mark in 5 and then we all assume it's
Yes.
Mark Kincaid from Scream 3, which would have been
Yes.
really fun, but whatever.
No Patrick
But
Dempsey. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, he opted out of this one. Which would have I don't know, that would have been kind of weird but fun. And yeah, they don't obviously she never mentions having a child or being pregnant or, wanting I
Yeah.
gotta get home to my my baby toddler.
Be
um
appropriate.
so yeah, but like kind of like whatever. It's I think there are certain things like that where I personally would prefer that fiction acts as if it were real and like it holds true to at least time and the
Gonna be
passage of
right.
such. But I think I could be forgiving of
Yeah.
that. What did you think of Sydney and her family and kind of all of that?
I mean, I thought it was cute. I thought her relationship with her husband was adorable. Joel
Yeah.
McHale was great in this. I thought he was.
I was surprised.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought because he's like always like kind of goofy, funny character, so I wasn't sure how he was going to be in this. And he's like a little bit humorous, but like kind of serious. And I don't know, I
Yeah.
totally bought it. Him as like a tough cop, I was into it.
It was great. He was in the most recent season of Yellow Jackets, which like when I first saw
Oh,
that, I was like, wow, that is so out of place. But he was fantastic in it.
okay,
As
yeah. So he's like
fantastic
getting
as
into
someone can
more
be in the later seasons of that show.
right, and also Scream 7.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, we're like more serious roles, but we're like, is it serious?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. But he was good. I really enjoyed him. The other thing that I loved that I think Kevin Williamson really leaned into was Pine Grove, Indiana. He was like loading us up with cozy little town shots. The downtown was
Yes.
adorable.
So cute.
Sydney has become a coffee shop owner
I
of Little
know.
Latte. It's so cute. There's a cute little movie theater. They're playing Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I loved Pine Grove. I thought it was so cute.
There it was also like it was such a healthy version of Sydney. Like she
Yeah.
was so like she'd gotten over so much trauma. This is very silly, but there's a scene where she's in the coffee shop talking to her neighbor and she's sitting with her back to the door and like to the shop. And I was like, look at
Oh,
her. Look at her. She's
yes. I
okay.
I do remember thinking that, and I was kind of like clocking her in some different things, because you're like watching her to be like, how is she behaving? Like, is she totally still like constantly fight or flight, like looking over her shoulder, totally worried? But you also mentioned her relationship with her husband. One thing I will say that I really appreciated about the writing and the characterization is the second that she was like, Ghostface is back and our daughter's in trouble, her husband,
Believed.
he wasn't like,
Just
no, calm
no.
down, you're overreacting. He like flipped on the sirens and was like, I'll be there in a second.
Called in all the
Yes.
backup.
Oh, I loved that. I was
that
like,
was
thank you for
great.
finally not writing a gaslighting jackass
Yes.
husband who's useless. Like, he was very useful in this movie. Like, she
Yes.
truly wasn't alone. Like, she's always been this like solo badass, and like he was like kicking ass, and her daughter too.
And you know, I do say that like she's so healed, but I'm sure we could unpack the fact that she ended up with the chief of police.
Also that with like a panic room in her house.
Yeah.
So, you know, she's like as healed as you could reasonably be without like letting your guard down, which obviously like she just cannot do. So so yeah, there was I think I really appreciated her and her family. Aside from that, the cast and characters, like the rest of the teens, like they clearly were trying to make us think it was Stu, right? So hard that like we're like it almost would have been a good twist to have it be Stu, because they were trying to make it so obvious that I feel like in the end we would have been like, oh my gosh, it actually is. Like, there's just no way I would have believed it, it could have been him because of how hard you were pushing for it.
Like literally every single red herring in this movie. Scream usually has red herrings all over the place.
Everywhere.
Every red herring for this was Stu's body was logged into the morgue. Stu was at the psychiatric institute. Like all of these things.
Right. They were kind of like, there was a couple, like all the other characters basically just felt like throwaways. Like there was the creepy kid who's like obsessed with Sydney. He wasn't that creepy.
No.
I don't know. He just like seemed like an awkward teenager who was like into like true crime. I don't know. That didn't seem that weird. And then there was like the drama teacher who like 2 different times they zoomed in on him like making a weird face.
It was so bizarre. He was like barely in it.
He was awful, and he was just like, there were such flat characters. Like he just was like a really mean drama teacher, and I was like, yeah, that's so boring,
so wasted. That actor can be phenomenal and absolutely
he looks familiar
hysterical.
And I meant to look up what he's in.
I most know him from Veep. And he was absolutely hysterical on Veep. I forget what he was in more recently. But yeah, he can be great, and he was just like this tiny bit part, but like Sydney stared at him that one time. It was so weird.
I know. It was, I don't know. The rest of the characters were just kind of random, and then we have like the remainder of our legacy cast, which was Gail, and then Chad and Mindy, which like loved them in Scream 5 and Scream 6, but like, why are you guys here?
And they like didn't even really let Mindy do her thing except for like 30 seconds.
A little. Right, because that's what I was wondering. I was like, okay, so they don't fine. I'm fine with the reason why they were there. Sure. Like it was like kind of funny when they're like, we're her hot interns or something.
Yeah.
Was like,
I mean, they were their usual charming selves. Yeah.
Totally. Like I appreciated them being there, but like they definitely did not need to be there.
Yeah.
And I was wondering like if they just didn't have another, like this would have been the first one without like a geeky like horror film expert to tell us things. I don't even remember really what she went off on about in the pizza shop.
I mostly just remember that Chad told her not to do it, but then she did it anyway.
It was kind of funny.
Yeah, but I also don't really remember what she said. Whereas like her other little soliloquies that she got in the other movies were fantastic.
Yeah, I think the meta stuff in this just like they were just like making jokes about like don't make it meta, like like you know stop, and then it was just like very on the nose.
And then it was
I don't know.
And then it was, with the exception of the first scene, I would argue it's the least meta of any of the Scream movies.
Yeah. Yeah,
it like throws back to previous Scream movies, but not like what they are. It's just like, here's a reference to an old character. You know, like it doesn't have that like level of interpretation
Right, right. I think that's what I mean. I guess it doesn't even know like what it's making fun of anymore.
Yeah.
Except for it's like only making fun of itself. Like in Scream 6, like it made fun of the audience a lot. And like same with Scream
Totally.
5. Like I feel like they were really getting into like the toxic fandom, which I've like kind
Mhm.
of changed my opinion on that motive a little bit. Like after thinking on it and reading the book and hearing, well, actually, I'm going to save
Interesting.
that for the bonus episode. Why?
Oh, okay,
Because there was
great.
something I read in it where I was like, okay, maybe they're not as far off as I want them to be as like a normal
Oh,
person who just like
no.
doesn't act atrociously online. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, I can't imagine what that's like. But yeah, I totally agree. I think it just like I, if it had a stance, like it was a little bit lost on me in terms of like what messaging we were
Yeah.
trying to say. I didn't quite get it. What did you think of like I guess the commentary and the fact that we're in 2026. This is Scream 7 and we have like this AI like deep fake
That
whole
felt
situation.
as lazy to me as the voice modulator from Scream
Mm.
3 that could sound like anybody.
Yes, and it also made me really sad because we got a lot less of Roger L. Jackson. I felt like we didn't really
Yes.
get Ghostface in this movie, and I do
Mhm.
appreciate. I was wondering how they were going to bring in Stu, and I appreciated that it was like that, but I think it could have been like one call, like one little
Yeah.
cameo
Well,
or
like I said,
something.
they threw everything at
Yes,
that.
exactly, and it just in the end it didn't make any sense to me. Like it didn't make any sense to me once we get to like the reveal and the ending, like why like the whole pitch of the movie, right, is that it's like it's so close to home and that they're targeting Sydney's daughter.
But then it's like
What?
totally random killers.
Why were they even targeting Sydney's daughter? Like they were just
This
targeting Sydney. Like I still don't understand that after the whole reveal and
she Anna Camp's character wanted Sydney to still be traumatized because that helped her kill her abusive ex-husband, and so now she's creating a new Sydney by traumatizing
enticing
Tatum.
her.
Like,
Okay. Oh,
we
right.
have
Okay.
had some
Yes,
bad
yes. You're
motives,
right. You're
and
right. You're
I
right.
think this is the
Okay.
worst
No, I do
one.
remember her saying that. She was going to kill Sydney, not Tatum.
That's
And then she was going to
correct.
make Tatum the new Sydney, and
Yes.
somehow Tatum was going to just exist out in the
She
world and
was
not tell anyone what
right?
happened.
Because they unmasked themselves.
I don't understand. I don't
And,
understand.
like, yeah, she didn't like that Sydney was healthy, like I was just talking about. Sydney was happy and healthy
Yeah.
now.
Okay, yeah. So let's just
I don't
get
know what
into
the other
like
guy's motive was. I don't really remember what he said.
did he even get the chance before like she blew his
I don't
brains
know.
out? Okay, so let's get into like Ghostface in this movie. Um okay, so we had not one, not two, but three ghost faces for the second Scream
Yeah.
in a row.
Yeah.
So not really like oh, this is so different. Like in Scream 6 we're just like whoa, like we're seeing two ghost faces attack at once and then we find out that there is a third.
Yeah.
And so that was a little bit surprising. This was just like I guess that the timing of it was interesting. Like kind of in Act 2 we get a ghost face reveal and it's just the random guy that glared at her in the coffee shop.
Which was their first random guy, and they
Ye-
acknowledged that.
yeah. And
I
mowed
didn't
down by
hate
Gail.
that. That
I
was
kind of liked
great,
that. That was
yes.
fun that was her arrival. I did like Gail in this getting a bit back to her like Scream 1, Scream 2, like I'm just very sassy
Yeah.
and like her kind of being mean and like her not really genuinely mean Gale way. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah,
just
it's
like
just who
very like
she
poking
is.
fun. Yeah, where I feel
Yeah.
like the other Screams kind of just like I I don't know, like held her
Yeah.
back from that kind of like just ripping into everybody,
Yeah.
including Sydney. Um, yeah, I like that they didn't just like try to say like Gail's like writing another book and we're mad at Gail again. Like we did get
Yeah.
mad at Gail again, but it was kind of justified.
Yeah. It was just in the normal way. She didn't do anything
Yeah.
particularly heinous
Yeah,
this
yeah,
time.
yeah. No, it's true. It's true. But I I really just didn't understand more than ever. Like, this is something that I consistently have a problem with in Scream is the reveal of the ghost faces and then the discussion of their motives, because it's now explaining to us kind of like everything that happened and why.
Yes.
So it's like in the movie we can understand like how they were the killers, I suppose, like logistically, but the motives, just like this
They
one was
were
so
weak.
tough. It was so tough. And it also felt, for Kevin Williamson, who's someone who like I from all I know is like fairly progressive and like not problematic, like leaning on a like mental illness angle
Yeah.
as like a like it didn't feel harmful necessarily to me, but like the like escaped like psychiatric facility,
It's
like
lazy.
people with mental health are killers, like that kind of
Yes.
thing. It just was like, aren't we past
When they went
that?
to visit a psychiatric facility, I was like,
I
really?
know. There were
This
a
is
lot
what
of
Scream has come to?
right, and there were a lot of, like, references that felt very, like, Halloween to me in this. Like, there was a lot of the shots, that felt like they were, like, playing homage to, like, the Michael Myers, like, his mask coming into the darkness. It's, like, a very
Hmm.
iconic shot in the first Halloween of, like, his just, like, the white mask
Oh,
appearing, and they
well,
did
they
that,
did
like,
that like
several
like so
times.
many
Yeah.
times. I was like, oh,
Like, once
again.
probably would have been enough, but
Yeah.
then the same thing, like, it was Smith's Grove Sanitarium, so this was what, Pine Grove. So like they were definitely trying to
This
do
is
something.
Fallbrook.
Fall,
Fallbrook,
but
which
the
was
town, wasn't
Pine
the town
Grove.
something
They were
Grove?
yeah,
Yeah.
Pine
So
Grove.
this
Yeah.
was Smith's Grove. Like I think they were just like kind of trying to like link some of the lore
It
into like the
didn't.
masked killer, kind of, just saying how like Halloween walked, right? So Scream could
Yeah.
run kind of
But like
thing.
this is Scream 7, guys.
I
We've
know.
done this 6 times
I know.
before.
I know. I actually, for the first time, Sarah, in 7 movies, I predicted to an extent all 3 killers.
So this is what I was gonna say. I wouldn't say that every Scream villain is like surprising, but it's
Right.
at least interesting when you get the reveal.
Yes.
These, it was like that guy was so obvious and completely
Yes.
otherwise random.
Yes.
Anna Camp is too famous an actress for the
Yes.
very small part they were pretending to put her in.
Right.
And Ethan Embry was also way too famous of an actor. He's not
Yes.
that big, but like I know his name. I
Yes.
knew him immediately, and we were supposed to
Uh-huh.
just believe we were going to see it. So it was so blah
It
in
wasn't
the
even
end.
like it wasn't even like that hidden. So like we had the first guy, he glared at her and she got a weird vibe from him in the coffee shop. Like there was no other
Yeah.
reason aside from that being like a very random like red herring or
But
just
they only
showing
give
that
us
like
red
she's
herrings towards
suspicious.
people we know,
Right.
usually.
It didn't make any sense. So
Yeah.
that one was like, okay, when they revealed him, it was just kind of like, okay. So you're just like waiting for it to be a really interesting reveal. Why? Which then they tie back to Stu Macher again. Then when you're thinking about that scene where we're introduced to the other Ghostface, what's the actor's name?
Ethan
Embry.
Embry.
Okay. So like the only explanation for what he said, saying like, oh, like calling Stu Joe, whatever, John Doe, Joe,
Yes.
John Doe,
John Doe.
combining John Doe.
Oh, that's John. John Doe. That was
Yeah.
dumb also.
So it's like the only like he obviously was going to be involved, because why would he lie and lead them
Yes.
to believe that unless he was the one who was
Mhm.
involved in some way? And then the reason why I suspected Anna Camp is because I saw the movie poster and I looked at the cast list and I said she would be a perfect Ghostface because she does Unhinged
She
so well.
does. It's
We have been
basically
saying
all she
that.
plays.
Yes. I was like, okay, so it's got to be her because she's the perfect casting to be a Ghostface.
Yeah.
They also, so there's a thing where like all the Ghostface killers wear flannel. Did you notice how many people were wearing flannel?
I
You
did
probably,
not notice that.
if you had known that fact going into the movie, you would have been like, okay.
Okay,
Like the
but
boyfriend wears flannel in the first scene. A random guy in the theater is
oh.
wearing flannel, and like the really nice like theater dressing room in a high school. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, that was like a
That was so
professional
fancy.
setup. Okay, but
There's a lot
speaking
of
of
flannel.
costuming,
Yeah.
did I just notice this because I saw a Scream movie in
Sparkly.
theaters? Why were the
Why
robes
is
so
it sparkly?
sparkly?
Okay, this
Right?
is
They
what I
have
wanted to
not been
open with.
sparkly before. What was that?
That's so funny. Thank you for bringing it up, because if I had forgotten to bring this up and I didn't put it in my notes, I would have been like so upset.
It's the
It was
only thing
so
in my head where I
sparkly.
was like, this is the one thing I want to make sure I talk about.
Yeah,
It was
same. I was like, we have to open with this.
distracting.
It was so weird. Why was he sparkly? There was no reason. It was never explained
No.
why he was sparkly.
So you first notice it in the theater scene because there's like theater lights on, and I was like, I don't know, maybe they're doing something there. But
Yes.
then it was so sparkly all the time.
Yes.
It was
Right. I thought it
so
was maybe
bizarre.
a fluke, or that we were like, I thought at the first in the theater scene, I was like, well, she's like covered in sparkles.
I
So
thought
maybe
she
her
like
sparkles
borrowed something from the theater department. That was my first thought.
Yeah, I don't know why it was so sparkly. I don't know.
It was so weird.
It was weird. Yeah. There were just a lot of problems, and I think at the end of the day, what bothered me the most about the movie overall was just that it like didn't feel like Scream. It felt like,
Yes.
okay, like maybe 6 was a good place to stop.
Yeah.
You know, like this didn't add anything that I hadn't seen
No.
before. Like, I guess I did enjoy the continuation of Sydney's story, and like, but I feel like we imagined, like, the reason why I liked it is because I imagined something like that for her. You know, it was
Yeah.
like kind of what we were like, okay, I think this is like, I think that she has like a shit ton of guns. I think that she has some security measures, but I think that
Yes.
she's like moved on and is like doing okay and has like a good life, you know, with some troubles, but like a good life. So it didn't really like, I guess it validated that, which is nice, but other than
Yeah.
that, it was just
That could have been an
so
epilogue
weird.
in another movie, or I could have just
Yeah,
assumed that already. I don't know.
exactly. Like, I did assume
Yeah.
that already. So this sale, I think also it's like when the expectation of the movie, like when they don't, like, the promise of the premise is not met. Like, this is supposed to be like, it's so personal, we're burning it all down. Literally, they didn't burn it all down. They burned down one house at
Yeah.
the beginning, and one random girl, that poor girl, after being like, what a terrible way to die, Ghostface just like brutally murders her. She's just a random girl, she didn't even want to be there.
Mhm.
anyway anyway
Her
so, like,
boyfriend
that,
did deserve to die, though. Let's just make that
yeah,
clear.
I did not.
He
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
sucked.
He was awful. He was really irritating.
Yes.
He was
Yes.
definitely like
He
playing
was
the
very
annoying fan
irritating
really
and
well.
like not nice to her.
I can't believe, like, if I went to a place like that and then my boyfriend dressed up as the killer, that's
Mm-mm.
not funny.
It's not
And then
funny
he was
at
like mad, kind
all.
of mad at her for punching him in the face. Like, no, that is the
Yeah.
exact right thing to do. You're lucky she didn't
You'd be like,
stab you.
congratulations. Like that is what you should do. I'm so proud of
Yes.
you.
He was like, that was a test and you passed.
Yeah, good job.
I do also appreciate that Kevin Williamson like wrote a lot of the girls to be like fighters. Like, there were a lot
Yes.
of like, this wasn't an easy go for Ghostface. Like, people weren't just getting
Yeah.
like sliced and diced.
Yes.
He or
Except
she had
except
to earn it.
McKenna Grace,
Oh
who
gosh.
would just totally helpless flying amongst the rafters in her theater
I can't decide if I
flying
liked
get up.
that or not. I don't
Me
know.
neither. I think I liked that one. That one
think I
felt
liked it
like it
too.
could have found a place in another Scream movie.
Yeah, I thought that was
Like,
kind of fun. I do
yeah.
think there were some fun sequences, like when Sydney and Tatum go out of
The safe room.
thank you,
Yes.
into the walls. I thought that was really tense
That was
and well
pretty
done.
scary. Yeah.
Those kind of things get me every time.
Yeah.
The like stabbing through the wall, and we're
Yeah.
trying. Oh, like, how scary would that be? That was really good.
That was well done.
Yeah, so, and I really, I think it was like shot well. Like, I think like in terms of direction, I feel like he did a good job. I felt like the writing was like not like
Yeah.
distractingly bad, but there definitely were some lulls in the action, just some like really, like, there was like not even background music, like it was just like very
Yeah.
kind of dull for like a Scream movie that's like very like fast paced, like snappy. I don't know. It didn't feel like that energy at
No.
all.
And like it was a 2-hour movie. Like they could have cut. They could have cut.
Yeah. I do appreciate like when movies horror movies specifically do like take time to like do character development and like deeper talks and have their
I
moments, and
would
there were a few
not.
of those.
Yeah, but
But we
some
didn't
of
need to
that.
say, like, literally they were talking basically the meta. This was the, when you were talking about the meta stuff, this was the meta thing where I was like, okay, so this is the meta thing we're doing. It was all about Sydney not being in Scream 6. That was the whole meta angle.
Yes.
And that was like pretty much their motivation for killing her or like attacking
Yeah.
her in this movie, was because she didn't go to New York. Like it
It
was like
was
the whole meta thing was
so
like just about her
weird.
not being in the movie. It was like we were all okay with that. We thought it was going to be a
That
problem that
it
Sydney
made
wasn't in Scream
perfect
6.
sense to me.
It all made
It
sense
made
to
less
us.
sense to me that she showed up in Scream 5.
Yeah, yeah. I right. That like it was only because of Dewey, and then like that was kind of the
Yeah.
last reason. So I guess unless like they had killed off Gail, but then she wouldn't have really, like, Gail then would have been dead, and then it would have been over. There would be no one left from this horrible, horrible experience.
Speaking of Dewey, I would like to take a moment to talk about how much I hated that scene where it flipped, where they had
To
the
the different
AI thing and it
ones.
flipped to all the different killers. I thought that was so dumb. So like take Scream 3, when we get the video that Randy had recorded, that was a perfect way to bring someone
Yes.
back for a cameo.
Yeah.
This was lazy and dumb. And also, all of those actors have aged so much.
So much, I know.
But like how, like that's not how that would have, I don't know. It was
right,
I
like the Stumacher. Like I
hated
said, that would have been great if it was the first call, because it would have like just gotten her wheels turning and been like, wait, like could this be real? Could this be happening? One short little video where it's like a real live FaceTime. She thinks it's real. She can't tell. She has to investigate. I did think the red herring with the boyfriend was pretty good, where he has it pulled up and he's like, I was just thinking it was
but like
possible. That was kind of
simultaneously,
fun.
that's exactly what I would have done. I would have tested
Yeah.
it out to see if
that
it
was
was
like kind of believable, but also
Yeah.
like maybe it was him doing it, and also I just really liked the
But I also feel like he
that
would
was
have
what he was
told
doing.
Tatum that's what he was doing.
Yeah. I mean, she was busy like trying not to get murdered.
Yeah.
But
Trying not to get
it
murdered, but
was-
sneaking out after curfew for no good reason.
I was really confused for a minute because she said something about like, is there a way that we can get your dad out of the way? Like, he is the chief of police. And that meant that then it immediately cut to him being like what we thought was like getting murdered, like getting stabbed. I was like, when that scene first started, I was like, wait, is she gonna try to like scare him or like get him like, like make noises or like have some suspicious occurrence happen to like draw him out so they can sneak out?
Oh my
God,
God,
I was
that
so
would have been
confused.
terrible.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, that's so mean. But then no, he's just getting murdered and she's sneaking out.
But you know what? I would actually like to take this moment to blame Mindy for all of those kids dying. Because
so
she
true.
was just like, we need to get everybody in a room together to figure out who the killer.
Yeah.
No, Mindy,
Right.
you did not need to do that. Or you could have done it not during curfew the next day.
Right. In the daylight. Also, like there in this movie, like there was no like did she even meet any of them? Like
No.
there was no reason. She was
And-
in the group. She was involved in the last one.
She's
like, there was
literally
no one.
always been wrong about who the killer is.
That's
so
so true.
I'm not.
Yeah, that was.
I'm not
there was
supportive of that.
I know, you're so right. That was totally her bad.
Yes.
Which maybe is setting her up to be like the next Gale, which they obviously were doing with her.
Yes.
They're like trying to set like
very
Tatum up to be right. Like I feel like
maybe
Scream
that's why
8 is going to
like,
be.
Mindy was not like that in the past.
I know. Like she didn't want to be in the spot. Like she wants to be a news anchor now. Like what? There was a lot that didn't make sense, where Scream 6 felt like a way that, okay, this is like how the franchise could continue, and then Scream 7 felt like a what? We didn't really need any of this. This just makes the lore kind of more confusing. And that, I think, is what happened with the Halloween franchise, is they just kind of kept doing all these different like random installments made by different people and kept bringing the story in different directions and like changing the lore, like,
Which they did make a direct reference to the Halloween movies.
Yeah.
She
We're like,
just
no,
called
we
her
get it.
Jamie Lee. So cool to do that. Just Jamie Lee.
Yeah. Oh gosh. You're not on a first name basis. You're on like a first name, middle name basis. I don't even know what that means.
Was bizarre. I don't know, Ashley. This was a mess.
It was messy. And it was, like, as messy as we thought it was gonna be, but I feel like there was a small part of me that was, like, hopeful that it was going to kind of go along with, like, what 5, 6
Yeah.
had done and continue that energy of, like, okay, like, maybe there's something to it. There's so many people out there who are just like, like, we didn't need to go past Scream 2, like, all the movies are trash, and obviously, I opened up this series of us talking about the Scream movies being like, I love them all, and they're all kind of terrible, and I think that's not totally true. I feel like that's a little bit of a, like, me just talking shit. But like I do like these movies, and I think that a lot of them do have like serious limitations, but I don't think
Yeah.
any of them were like terrible movies. There were movies Scream 4. But,
Some great.
but
Like, I didn't love it.
yeah, but it wasn't like a bad like I wouldn't go see that movie and be like mad at it. And I guess I
Yeah.
wasn't really like mad at Scream 7 either. Like there still is a part of me that like loves Scream, loves Sydney, loves the franchise enough to be like, okay, like that wasn't they didn't like ruin things for me, but it also was just like overall disappointing because it's just always going to be there. Scream 7 is just going to be
I was
part of it.
mad at the beer tap scene. I was mad that they totally took me out of it in that way. And
Okay. And they
also when they shot Anna
her
Camp's
face
face off.
that those yes. Those moments so I had read as I mentioned the book
Mhm.
about the franchise and how Kevin Williamson was talking about like how this was going to be, and he basically I think outright said like that Sydney and Gail weren't going to die. Basically it was like that's just like we're not going to have it be a sad ending for Sydney, like it just that's not how we're going to end the story. That's not what Wes would have wanted.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
But he also talked about like Scream not being like it having violence and Wes Craven like always wanting more blood, but it never being like gratuitous to like the way that like Final Destination Bloodlines was, and it wasn't like
Yes.
ever I felt like gory camp. Like 5 and 6 definitely were known to be like more violent, but there's
Yeah.
something about this that a few of them felt dark. Like I was like kind of bothered by the like lighting on fire scene. Like that actually like kind of disturbed me a little bit. And then the other ones were just like so campy ridiculous, like Final Destination Bloodlines, where it like totally fit the mood
Yeah.
there. That was so silly and dumb. Whereas
Yeah.
in this, it was like are we trying to be violent? Are we trying to be silly? Like either way, that's not really Scream. Scream is
No.
just like
Scream is not silly.
manageable, but not silly.
Mhm.
That's usually what it is. It's like more off screen. I don't know. I guess it just shows kind of like how the ratings and like our tolerance and like what they're allowed to do, because in the book it also goes into like how hard it was for them to get an R rating for Scream, the original, because
Oh.
they had to like kind of scale back on some things, like even just the
Uh-huh.
opening scene. I mean, she's like hanging from a tree with her guts hanging out. Like it's
Yeah.
very graphic. Um and so he had to like cut some things back, have less blood, just cut out some scenes, like have some things be like off camera so that they could get an R rating instead of like the NR or whatever it is where
Mhm.
you're just
NC-17.
yeah. Yeah, where you're in the bad boys club. But then you like compare that to like the end of Scream 5 where Sam just stabs him like 37 times
I
or
mean,
whatever it is that she
yeah, like,
says.
thinking about the first Scream right now, like, I could see them cutting, like, 1 or 2 scenes and getting a PG-13 rating
Right.
in
Right.
2026.
Totally. Totally. Yeah, it's really and we both talk about how we're like fairly desensitized and it's like hard to bother us, but that's something that I've always appreciated about Scream, and like kind of what our podcast stands on too is that like keeping it like not real, right? We're not like trying to
Yeah.
make it um so serious. We're not trying to like envision this as something that like could possibly happen in real life. So it's like typically like the campy gore, it's like that's fine. That's like the new like TV series of Chucky. We've mentioned now several times Final Destination's Bloodlines. Like there is that where it's like
And
it
I
fits
love
the vibe
those,
and it's
yeah.
funny and it's silly.
Mhm.
And then there's like the movies that like I just refuse to watch because it's like so disturbing. Like I don't like that like Terrifier. Like I won't watch that. Like things like that are just like gross, violent, like trying to like really like make our skin crawl because it's like so disgusting. Like no, I'm all set. Like I'm not here for that. And there, I don't think it like really went there for me, but it like had these moments where I was like, "You're pushing it. You're pushing it. I don't want to be pushed in this way."
People in Scream get stabbed.
Right.
Why was there a spiky beer tap scene?
That made no sense and like was so CGI, so fake
I
looking. That was
know.
awful. I can't
Yeah.
believe that like
It is
didn't
what I
get
will
cut.
remember from this movie. I will remember that in the sparkly robes. That's what I am taking away from all of this.
The sparkly robes. Let's end on the sparkly robes. I mean,
I would like to go as Ghostface this Halloween
and be
with
sparkle Ghostface.
the sparkliest robe you've ever seen.
I would love for us both to be sparkle Ghostface. It's really fun. I dressed up as Ghostface in college and it was so fun. I'm sure I've mentioned it before, probably in our original Scream episode.
It would be great if we
fun.
both went as Ghostface because,
yes,
there's always more than
always
one.
two. And then we could talk about how ridiculous it is with like our height discrepancy and how that happens in pretty much every film, and they try to play it in the way that they film it so it's more believable, and then they try to have us forget that these like scrawny, tiny little people are doing these like extreme Michael Myers feats.
Right? Like who
impaling
had that
people
epic
and
battle with Joel McHale? Was that Anna Camp? Because I'm not buying it.
Right? Oh my
gosh.
That
was a good fight though. He was good.
Yeah.
Joel McHale.
No, I think it was the first guy who did.
Oh, you're right. You're right. He was
that would have,
right.
and he was
a
intense.
bigger guy.
Yeah. I could see that he was like maybe training for that, but that was a good fight scene.
Yes.
All right. Well, real mixed bag. Do you want to just like on the fly try to give it a star rating out of 5?
Yeah, man. You go first.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to think. I guess we could maybe save this for our rankings episode, but I feel like I would give it. I'm trying to decide if I want to be generous or not. I think I would give it. Like I'm between a 2.5 or a 3 out of 5.
Okay, I was gonna say 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like 2.5 is. I don't. It feels so harsh because that's like a. Okay, I feel like that'd make a movie I hated.
I had to stop rating books that I read in the Goodreads app because I always overinflate everything. Like to me, a 3 means like I don't ever plan to read this again.
Right.
But that's not a sane way to do things out of 5. Like what would that mean a 1 is?
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like 3 is like liked it, 4 is loved it, 5 is like this is my favorite.
Like I have to go tell everyone
to
about it.
Yes. 3 I would like if someone asked me, like, would you recommend this movie? I would be like, like, I think you could take it or leave it. So I guess that's like kind of seems like a 3.
Okay.
I wouldn't dissuade people. I wouldn't be like, there's lots of people online being like, this movie's trash, blah, blah, worst movie ever.
That's dumb. People online are dumb. But
what a nuanced take.
Right.
Thank you for your detailed feedback.
Well, I'm gonna stick with my 2.5, but 3 also like I almost went 3.
Yeah. I think depending on the mood and the moment you ask me,
Sydney's awesome. Some of the kills are great. It did have some really tense scenes.
And it also had some really cozy scenes.
It did.
I was like, oh, this isn't going to be cozy horror from the beginning. And then, like, when they went to her town and her coffee shop and her house and even, like, the pizza bar thing, like, I thought was cozy.
Yeah.
There was, like, moments where they were trying to make it, like, small town cozy, and I did appreciate that. So I will watch it again for sure. Like I don't know where this is gonna fall in my rotation.
Have our Stab-a-thon someday.
Oh my gosh, someday. Now there's going to be too many. We have to do it like while we still can. God, I think it's already way too late.
Right now
it's have to be like a week's vacation. We watch one
this
every
would be
night.
Like 14 hours of watching Scream movies.
And like, I'd rather just watch like the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Just less hours.
Is it at this point? What is it now? Is it that if we watch the regular or the extended? Because the regular would be about like 9 hours?
Yeah, regular should be 9. Extended would be like, I don't know, probably somewhere between 12 and 14. So I don't know. It's getting close.
Whew.
Yeah.
I've tried to do that many times, being like, this is totally doable. And then I'm like, no, this is like sun up to sundown.
Someday
like,
you and I will do it, though. Like the people who on
do.
Instagram do, where we plan out all our snacks.
Yes.
For the day.
Oh, I love those. Yeah, there really are a few things on Instagram that I miss, but it's not worth all the noise.
Anyway, I appreciate that we figured out a way to talk about Lord of the Rings in this episode about Scream 7.
Scream 7. What are we talking about next week? Do I remember? The Donner Party.
The Donner Party.
We're switching it up. We're done with Scream officially. If you want to hear us talk about Scream Wars somehow, subscribe to our Substack. I don't know exactly when we're going to release that episode, but right around the time probably when this one comes out or soon after. And then we are moving on to our next theme, which is Snowbound. So it's going to be different. We're going to do some movies. We're going to do another episode of Murder, She Wrote, the little slasher episode in the snow. And we're going to talk about the Donner Party and the Donner Pass, the snowiest place in America, where very, very crazy things went down. So you're going to want to tune in for that episode. Please tune in. I spent so many hours preparing for it.
She wrote so many pages of notes.
I did. I think I broke a record. Yeah. All right, so we'll see you there.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Haunted Homebodies. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
And remember, when in doubt, just stay home.